I said, can I ask you a question? He said, yeah. I says, you think a Rolls-Royce limousine is a pretty expensive car? Oh, yeah. He said, yeah, it's expensive. I says, well, that's what I'm going to come in tomorrow when I buy that car and pick it up.
Welcome to 45 on the Hour podcast. I'm your host, Colt 45, and I'm here with a gentleman that has an interesting story. I want you guys to pay attention to this story because this story comes from a long road, okay, a history with a background that you wouldn't believe. I got a friend that sent me a voice memo of his story, and it just totally blew me away. And I heard his story, and I was like, man, that is someone that has learned a lot from history and their growing up path and whatnot. And then this gentleman ended up living through all that hardship and then turned into a man of faith. And I think that's huge. And not to mention, he's written a book, multiple books, right?
Yeah.
So other than that, I'm going to get into it, and I'm going to introduce my guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
My name's Manny Asadurian.
There you go. And Manny is a man with some history, and this is interesting. But I want to get first into, brother, you talking about your background and your early struggles, because I've been keeping this a little bit of a facade for a while. Like, some people are like wondering, what is this podcast going to be about? And I haven't told anybody yet. So I want you to go into your background and your early struggles. I want you to talk about that first, because I think that's important to lead up to some of the questions I got for you.
Okay. Well, I started, our family was in the rubbish business. I started at 8 years old, making 25 cents an hour, working at the family business. So when kids were going, summer vacation and all, I went to work. But that's what we did. And dropped out of school in high school. No, I didn't even go to high school. I went to junior high. I went to junior high.
Didn't even make it to high school?
No, my dad pulled me aside and said, we're not going to teach you anything in high school about the rubbish business, so you're going to work.
Okay.
So I went to work in the family business, and then at the age of 16, I bought my own company here in Thousand Oaks, Rubbish Company.
Okay.
And then we just kept building and building.
What was the name of the company?
Caneo Disposal.
Caneo Disposal, okay. Never heard of it.
Yeah, so then that was in 73. And then, March 1st of 73, we bought that. And I just worked. My mom used to get mad at my dad, you're going to kill our son. He's working.
How old were you?
I was 16.
Started young.
Yeah. And so we literally built an empire. We owned GI Rubbish. We owned a lot of rubbish companies.
How old were you when you bought that company? Sorry to interrupt you.
16 when I bought Caneo Disposal.
You were 16 years old when you bought a business?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to tie my shoes by then, man.
But yeah, we we just worked hard, and we built a massive enterprise. And I built, I don't know, you're familiar with Simi Valley. I built the Simi Valley Bank building in 83. I built many buildings, houses, construction. Never knew how to do it, but just got the right guys in place and put everything together and did it. Was never really scared to take a chance. And at 69 years old, I'm still taking chances,
Wow.
and just you got to do what you got to do. And when the Lord gives you strength and your health, you can do anything.
Of course.
Nothing you can't do.
So you built this empire and whatnot. And how did all that go?
Went south because
Why?
there was my dad, my uncle, and my cousin, and we were all in it, equal partners. And then they brought a guy in that wanted to take us public. Well, none of us knew anything about that. We just knew work. Well, they took us public, and everything that we owned, we put in that. We ended up losing all of it, our buildings, everything.
Holy smokes.
Over going public. We owned everything, and we ended up with a piece of paper that says you have X amount of shares of stock.
Like, what does that do?
Yeah. What do you do with that?
So you got to a point to where you built this big empire. And when you say big empire, how much did you make? Do you know the numbers?
Well, yeah, I could tell you. At 20 years old, I was making $10,000 a week, and had nowhere to spend it because my house was paid for, my cars were all paid for, and everything. I
just cash money in the pocket.
Vegas all the time.
Yeah.
Just sit here and what do you want to do? Oh, let's go to Vegas. We'll have dinner and come back. Just crazy things. And in today's world, that doesn't sound like a lot of money. In the 70s,
That was probably like,
$10,000 a week is like $100,000 a week now.
yeah, I bet. You're making crazy money.
One day I bought 3 Rolls Royces in one day, okay, in Beverly Hills, and I'll never forget it. There was $100,000 each. I mean, now one is $400,000 or $500,000. You know what I mean? So you tell somebody that, and it's not really a big deal. Oh, they were $100,000 each. $100,000 back then?
Oh yeah, it's way different. Yeah, because you buy a house for $20,000 back then.
Yeah.
You can buy a house cash.
Yeah.
Which is one or 2 weeks working.
It was just everything back then was just different. It's just and I've done so many things in my life that it's it's just you look back at your life and you think, oh, and my nephew was telling me this. He said, Uncle, man, if you told people, they wouldn't believe what you've done. Like I sing, okay? So a buddy of mine was a producer. He said, well, let's put an album together. I said, okay. So I bought him a recording studio, recorded an album, went back to Nashville, and I sang. And I said, this isn't for me. I can't be on the road all the time. I can't be gone, because I love my family. I don't want to be, traveling all the time. He says, what do you mean? I said, I'm done. I enjoyed it. It was fun. We had a good time. But I could still sing, but it's just I don't want to be on the road. I mean, I sat in a hotel room in Nashville for a week. It was just, I had a guy there, it was called the Alamo, that made my boots and all that for me, okay? And I'm sitting in this big suite, and I called my manager. I said, hey, it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm going to call Frank that owns the Alamo and tell him to open the store. I want to go shopping. So tell the guy with the limo, get ready. He said, what are you talking about? So I want to go shopping. I'm tired of sitting in this room. So we went. He opened the store, and we went shopping, and we were there till like 6 o'clock in the morning. He brought wine and cheese and just stupid things, but I could never picture myself being on the road and living that kind of lifestyle because I'm not that type of guy,
Right.
I love being around people. I love people, and enjoy it. And, I've made millions of dollars, and I've lost millions of dollars. You know what I mean? And I think it just makes you a stronger person to get up and go back at it again because, none of us are perfect.
And you said you're 69?
69.
69. You feel young, like energy right now. You're like, I feel like you just started.
Well, and I just had brain surgery 3 weeks ago. I had a aneurysm, so they put 2 stents in my brain. But it doesn't matter, really. I don't know. I'm a man of faith, so I just look at the good Lord.
Amen.
It's like I told my wife. They say the Lord will only give you what you can handle. And I told her the other night, I was laughing. I said, I don't know how much he thinks I can handle, but I mean, he must think I can handle a lot.
He does. And I live by that.
Yeah.
Every time I feel struggle, I just go, you know what? He's only giving you what you can handle, Cole.
Yeah.
Right? Or you've been tested, you've been selected, right?
yeah.
You ever heard that?
Yeah.
I'm really curious, like going back, because I really want to understand this. So your rise and then fall, I think that's like really important to me to understand. I think it's important for the people that are listening and how they can get something out of it. You came into something, you bought a business at a young age. You built that for how many years?
We had that business for 20-some years, but my dad had his business, GI Rubbish, for, I don't know, since the 40s.
The GI Rubbish?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Your family's tied into everything.
So I'll tell you how far it goes back to 1941. My mom used to drive the truck, and my dad used to throw the trash. That's how far back we're going.
That's crazy. There's a lot of money in the trash business, isn't it?
Used to be. Now it's, a little regulated, but yeah.
Yeah.
Not like it used to be.
Right. You just buy land and then just bury it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just easy money,
Yeah.
Doesn't that get convoluted with, like, the other people? Like the underworld a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
And you probably had some like, hey, you're making too much money.
Well,
you
when
know?
we were kids, we would always, it was like a joke because they'd fly over our house. Okay. They'd always follow us. They'd always tap our phones. We didn't have cell phones.
Are you talking about like
Yeah,
FBI,
the
or
FBI
something?
and stuff.
Yeah.
Because being in that business, that business is controlled by the mob, and then,
The trash business.
yeah. And then New York, they don't call it the rubbish business. I can't remember the name of it, what they call it, but carting.
Carting.
So they're in charge of all the carting. So, but that isn't the way it is here. But when somebody out here says, oh, rubbish business, they put that together with that, and automatically, you're in the mob. And
Right.
It was...
So it's one of those businesses where everyone wants their hands in your cookie jar.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone wants a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you even deal with that? But I mean, by looking back, this is important, I think, is looking back at all the things up until you led to the point of the business closing and losing everything, right? Because you made all this money. The rise and fall. What did you see like were the warning signs? Like, what did you see? Like, did you just start getting phone calls? And then it was like just the pressure? Because I think I'm a business owner too, right? And so I get that. I get the pressure.
Right.
You got the city on your ass. You got, people that say things about you, and then you got to defend yourself, even if it's not true.
Right,
And
right.
it's just a constant battle. I feel like you're in a war in business.
Well, especially when you're successful.
Yeah.
If you're not successful, who cares about you?
Correct. Yeah, the more money you make, the more people that, people get jealous.
Yeah, that's it.
They
can't
hate
wait
on
to
what they
see you
gave up
fall.
on.
Nobody wants to see anybody do good. That's what's sad. I'm happy when someone does good.
Me too.
But,
Let's stop there. Let's talk about that because that's important. You know how many people, I think at the level that I'm at, if you came to me and you were just starting, you're like, hey, man, help me out here. I'd be like, dude, you want to be successful? Dude, let me sit right there, bro. We got to talk for an hour. You know what I mean? I'm going to help you out because I know what it was like.
Exactly.
But someone that doesn't know what it's like, but that just wants to get handed what you have because they're either envious or jealousy, and all that shit's talked about in the Bible over and over again, is the worst thing that someone can have. It is the worst. Someone that doesn't feel happy, you got to cut them loose.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's
jealousy
a disease.
is the worst thing in the world. I mean, and that's what you see when you're successful. There's nobody talking nice about you. You know what I mean?
When
you're successful, I remember I went to a friend of ours opening an Armenian restaurant up in Fresno. And we went up there for the grand opening. And all these people came and they ate and they did all that. And we were standing outside having a drink and talking. And people were walking out. And, oh, he'll never make it. He's going to lose. And I told my cousin, I said, why do these people even come here? For what reason? To wish the man bad luck? Don't come. I mean, why does people want to see people fail?
That's interesting.
Stop and think about it, though. Why?
Misery loves company.
Must be.
It's the only thing that makes sense. Like if I
Exactly.
have the energy to do something that you're afraid to do, just the same thing with like people that think that you're cocky,
Right.
But you're just confident.
Right.
And they confuse the two. But they see
Exactly.
cockiness in you because they don't see confidence in themselves.
Right.
Because what you hold within, you can see externally. So if I feel like I love you, I love myself,
Right.
I'm going to love you.
Right.
Like, because you can only give what you feel with inside.
Exactly.
Right? So, and I think that's a lot to say with like the way it is today with success. Like you were just saying, like people are afraid of seeing successful people when they're not successful.
Exactly.
You'll never see a successful person online talking shit to another successful person.
Never.
Ever.
No.
It never happens because they have too much shit to do. They're not worried about your life. The only people that are worried about your life is the people that want your life.
Exactly.
The fans. The
Well,
people that
get
wish
up and
they had
work
what
for
you-
it.
Exactly.
And nothing was handed to me. At 69, I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm still trying to figure something to do.
I just can't believe you were 16 years old when you started that freaking trash business,
Yeah.
man. That's wild.
I
And
mean-
then you did it for 20 years.
Oh, over that. I did it till I was
So what?
1990s, I think it was, 30-something years.
So then what was the really big downfall? Like what happened? Like would you just get no more contracts and it just started getting more
we
regulated?
were making money. But what happened was this guy came in, fast talker,
Yeah.
took us public, which none of us knew anything about. And he was spending money like you can't believe. And then we bought Mack Truck, downtown L.A., and we used to have a leasing company. So we'd lease our rubbish trucks and everything to people, okay? So we were Mack Truck LA. We was one of their biggest, buyers of trucks. So we started a leasing company. So we only leased to rubbish-related, industry. So containers, trucks, any of that, we'd lease to other companies. So if something happened, we could just go take the equipment back and put it to work. We didn't lease like the cement companies and sand and gravel trucks. Because if it rains, they don't work, they don't have no money. Rubbish it's every day. So not telling the board, they went and bought Mack Truck LA. Mack Truck LA lost $7 million the first year we owned it. And then they were just spending money like there was no tomorrow. So then we had to, we had to sell the company. And but I mean, we had racehorses. I mean, the whole anything you could think of, I've either done it or had it. And it's, don't get me wrong, I'm not bragging because I don't have nothing right now. I'm starting over again, but it doesn't really bother me.
But you keep doing the daily habits that got you there, right?
Right.
And I think that's the important part of this podcast is to make sure that the viewers understand that, excuse me, you can have everything and lose everything over and over again.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people have done that. Trump, our president, lost things over and over again. He's been bankrupt how many times?
I don't
think
even
like
know.
2 or 3 times or something.
Like
I don't know, something like that. Look at him now, right? 70-something years old. And no matter how you feel, you do the same shit that got you there every day, no matter what happens.
Right.
So you wake up every day, and I'm pretty sure you wake up no matter what happens to you every morning saying, all right, well, this is my schedule. I'm going to get out there, and I'm going to try it again.
Exactly.
Because life's always going to beat you down, right? It's always going to try to test you. It's going to throw you off your character. But no matter what you do, you stick to the same shit you signed up for in the beginning.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. You have to.
Yeah. And even at 69 years old, you're just like, someone that's 30 starting over.
Yeah.
You're just like, hey, I woke up this morning, lost everything. Hey, let's get going again. Got to start over. It's life.
Yeah, and I mean that's what you have to do. It's only over if you quit. That's when it's over. When you quit, it's over.
Your character is over.
Yeah.
Your life.
You're done.
Yeah.
And I refuse to quit. I'm gonna do what I got to do. I've written.
But you're not really starting over. You're starting over with experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you know what to do and what not to do. You're
yeah.
taking a better
I know who to
step
trust, who
forward.
not to trust. A lot of things. But I've done a lot of things. Like in Moore Park, I built a 250,000 square foot indoor swap meet.
Holy
Okay.
shit.
And everyone said it couldn't be done. It's never going to happen. I got it done. And then the city screwed me around. And I just finally said, you know what, I'm all done. I'm going to close it up and be done. And, I mean, people were devastated. It was gorgeous. You should have seen it inside. Gorgeous. Every slot, every space had roll-up doors, crown molding. I mean, it was just indoor malls, swap meet. And so, and everyone said, well, you'll never put that together to the city. That's not going to happen. I said, well, get it done.
Jesus.
You just gotta work at it, And I could have said, "Oh man, I lost that. I closed it. Now what? And yeah, I've had them moments. You wonder, But without faith, you really have nothing. You got to just believe that things are going to turn out okay. The Lord didn't bring me this far to leave me. Okay, so
I like that.
as long as I'm here. I'm gonna do what I got to do. Am I going to be perfect at it? No. Am I going to make money at it? Maybe not. I may hit it out of the park and be a multimillionaire again. I don't know. But I know the Lord's got a great plan for me. I don't even question.
How did all this shape your faith? Like what after losing everything and
I'll tell you, when I met my wife.
When did you meet your wife?
1989. Okay, so we've been married 34 years. So we were dating.
I was 5.
Okay. Yeah. We were dating, and we used to go to church on Sunday, So then I don't know what happened. We got in a fight, and we broke up, this and that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go to church Sunday. I know she's there, and apologize and see if I can get her back. So I went to church. I'm looking all over. She's not around. So I didn't want to walk out, so I sat in the back. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just waiting for the service to be over. And then the pastor said, does anybody want to give their life to the Lord? Bow your head and close your eyes. And anybody want to give their life to the Lord? And he's going on and on. Raise your head and let your eyes meet mine. And I'm feeling this tug under my chin like somebody's pushing my head up. And I just opened my eyes, and he was looking directly at me out of all them people.
Who's he?
The pastor.
The pastor.
So I gave my life to Christ, and I felt like...
Out-of-body experience.
It was crazy. So...
Was that because you were at one of the lower points in your life?
Yeah. And I just felt I needed that. Because not that when I had money, I was a bad person, because I helped a lot of people when I had money. A lot of people. And I could bring you...
Don't take this the wrong way, but you feel like a mobster. Like the mentality you have, it's like just, give to the poor, take
and
from
I
the
did.
rich. Yeah.
I gave to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it, but I never gave the credit to the Lord. It was always me. I did it. I did this. But I'd never tell anybody, because I'm not that person. If I'm going to buy you breakfast, I'll pick up your tab and make sure they don't say nothing to you until I leave. I'm not that person I don't want recognition. I'm not interested in that. I just, as of today, I'm telling you, I'm starting over. I still like to help people. Whatever I can do for somebody, I want to do it. But it's just, when that happened to me, I went to my then girlfriend's house, my wife now, and I knocked on the door. She opened the door and she looked at me. She said, "You got saved today, huh?" "How do you know?" She said, "I could see it in your eyes." And it was just like, I can't even explain it to you, man. It was just, and from that day on, my faith is just, and like I said, I've been up, been down, but man, my faith is, like I told you, he didn't bring me this far to leave me. He's got some plan. I don't know what it is, but he's got a plan.
Let's talk about when you hit rock bottom, because I think that's important. So you hit a faith point where you hit a change. That's what it is. The reason why I'm saying this is because I felt the same thing within myself. I hit a point where I hit rock bottom, where I literally would rather jump into this black hole in the middle of the earth than to stand on solid ground.
Right.
And I think right before you make that jump is where change occurs.
Right.
Real change.
Right.
Not to actually make the jump and commit to it, but like when you're like, all right, I'm ready to go. And then you're like, wait, someone holds you back and says, wait a minute.
Right.
And you're like, wait a minute. And then you just need to do something different, right?
Right.
And then everyone talks about, I grew up with religion and my faith. I grew up with Christ, and I got baptized with my dad. And that was like the purest moment we had together, because my dad's changed.
Right.
My dad and me have, grew distant, but then came together. But my dad left and pursued changing his sex.
Oh.
That was really hard for me as a kid, because I wanted a man
that's
in my
got to
life.
be difficult. Yeah.
So I grew up with anger and frustration and things like
Well,
that.
that's understood, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that led me down the life of, being a biker and trying to find brotherhood and,
Right.
Getting involved in, street gangs at a young age and
Right,
trying
right.
to just figure it out.
Yeah.
I was looking for a dad,
Right, exactly.
But
But that's the problem today. If you look and see, I'll give you an example. We were at a wedding, and my son was younger back then. I don't know. He was like 13 or 14. Armenian tradition, when you walk in the house and somebody's older and you go up and give them a kiss and say hello.
Is that your background? Are
Yeah,
you're Armenian?
Yeah.
Full blood?
Half Spanish and half Armenian.
Oh, okay.
Spanish, Lebanese, Syrian, and Armenian.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So we're at this big wedding, and all us guys are at the bar, and my son comes and then walks across and comes over and gives me a kiss. "Hi, Dad." And so I'm going to go sit with Mom. No, kid, he goes, and this guy looks at me and says, "Was that your son?" I said, "Yeah." "He came over here to give you a kiss to say hi?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh," he said, "if that was my son, he wouldn't even acknowledge me." I said, "Well, it's not your son's fault. That's your fault. If you don't teach him, how are they going to know?" He says, "You know what? You're right. We've never taught him that." I said, "Well, then how do you expect him to know?" My kids know. You walk in a house and there's somebody older than you, go up and you say hello to them and you give them a kiss. That's what you do. So, everybody wants to blame the kids today.
Same in my culture, too, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm Italian. So.
Okay. Oh, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, mom and dad, you walk up, you give everyone kisses. Dad's kiss, mom's kiss.
Same thing.
Everyone kisses you on the cheek or the lips
Exactly.
or whatever. It's just,
same thing.
what you do,
But, everyone's so quick to blame the kids today. If the kids have no guidance, how do you blame them? And, and now all these kids with all the social media stuff and all that, we didn't ever have this when we were kids, you know what I mean? But with all this stuff, everybody wants to say, oh, I'm going to be an influencer, and I'm going to make millions. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And nobody does nothing. Around our area, I'm seeing these kids on these electric bikes now. Something new, okay? They look like the old Stingray bike. It's a bike. So I'm telling my son the other day, I wonder how much them bikes are. They got to be $500.
Way more than that.
He said, Dad, they're about $2,000-$3,000.
Yeah,
I said, no. So these kids are riding, and I'm on my walk, and I stopped at one kid. Hey, how much is that bike? He's $2,400. I said, my first car wasn't $2,400. And I mean, so it's just today's society is just it's different. You look at a bicycle for $2,400, and these kids are riding around like they're nothing. So I thought of a business. You should start financing them things.
That'd be a good business.
Yeah, so like a car.
So after all you've been through with this whole faith thing, and like how you kind of just saw like the light, right? Because you hit rock bottom. What was it that you felt during that time? Like you've been through so much shit, You've had everything, you lost everything. Sounds like it happened a few times.
Yeah.
Not to get into a lengthy podcast, but
I'm
sure.
Rolls Royce is gone, Bentley's gone, all the stuff, but houses. But it never, you know what? It just, like I said, I don't know. Just my faith just kept me going, and
what was it that you felt? I think that's important to understand because I think there's more to the story. What was it that you felt at that time? Like you hit rock bottom, you were just sitting there in church, and then all of a sudden you were just like, man. Was it like someone tugging at you? Like, was it a feeling?
My chin is, I'm pushing it down, and it's going up like this. I mean, I literally like somebody had their fist under my chin. And I just thought, okay, I got to give myself to the Lord because I can't do it. I can't do this. What I'm going through and all that I'm going through and starting over, starting another business. And,
So you don't believe in coincidences, right?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Everything.
I believe even like my dad, like I had struggle. And my biggest struggle was just trying to find a parent,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I started this as like a way of venting and trying to heal because I was just this angry person inside. I hated myself. As soon as I started finding love and replacing hate with love. And a lot of these guys, I've even talked to guys that were former 1%ers, of all different walks of life and former gang members. And, we've had all kinds of different people on the podcast. And everyone talks about the same shit. They go, man, I hated everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hurt everybody. I wanted to kill everybody. I wanted to take everything. But it didn't make me happy.
No.
You know what made me happy? Is being kind to people and loving people and trying to help people, giving myself to people. And that's where they found healing, like actual, like pain-free. People were talking about outer body experiences and stuff like that when they started doing this, when they started putting their faith in the Lord and having faith. And just saying, you know what, I'm not in control, you are. Something's to be said about that. And then when you give yourself to Him fully, where you commit, and you're not just saying you give yourself to the Lord. You're not like a fake Christian or something.
There's a lot of good time charges like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I've never been one.
No.
I was that guy that like claimed it.
Right.
But then to live it and actually try to get closer to God constantly. And I'm not perfect by any means.
Neither am I.
And it says something like that in the Bible. Like my church has a thing. And they always say this. They say, we're full of perfectly imperfect people.
Exactly.
Over and over again, they always say it,
Exactly.
And the closest person to God is the one that's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're struggling, that means that you're not resisting, but you're not fighting, but you're like trying to understand and you're just working through it. But the more that you work through it and the more that you give, you'll get.
Exactly.
Right.
But then you got the people that say, oh, I want to give to that guy and help him so they can get something in return. Well, then you're not Come on, man. What is that, a joke?
Yeah, that's selfishness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you seem like a selfless person.
And
Selflessness
like I say,
is what I've figured out is the best thing.
when I've had money and when I haven't had money, I'm the same person.
Yeah.
Same person. I'm always, respectful. I mean, to people, I don't
So
care
having
if it's
money,
a custodian.
not having money's never changed your feelings?
Never.
No.
Never.
You just gave more.
Yeah. Because I had it.
But you still seem like the kind of guy that give the shirt off your back.
I would tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't think twice about it.
Yeah.
So I just...
Because you're humble.
That's just who I am. That's what... But I love it. You know what I mean? I get more out of doing something for somebody than... you hit on it a little while ago, but, you go buy this, you go do that, it's going to make you feel good, That lasts about 2 minutes, okay? Like I was dying for a brand new Testarossa in '85 when they came out. And I'd do anything to get one. So I finally got it. I enjoyed the drive home from Beverly Hills to home.
Is it a Testarossa?
Yeah.
Like a Ferrari?
Ferrari.
Oh.
So,
Should have known.
yeah. But, okay, so I'll give you the other side of that. I was trying to buy that car, and I was at work. Our office then was on Industrial Street in Simi, the rubbish yard. So I was trying to get this Ferrari, and then it was by the dump. But anyway, so this guy says they got one at Budget Rent-A-Car in Beverly Hills. They were going to rent it, but the car's too fast, so the owner's not going to rent it. He's going to sell it. So I got in my pickup. I drove down there, and I'm in my Levi's and T-shirt, and nobody had talked to me. And everyone I'd ask, I'd said, hey, I'd like to talk to somebody about that Testarossa. And they'd look at me up and down and say, that's a really inexpensive car. I said, yeah, I know that, but can I talk to somebody about it? So finally, I went inside, and I told the lady, could I talk to the manager? So he comes out, he gives me the eye, looks me up and down, sees I'm in a T-shirt and Levi's. How can I help you? I said, I want to buy that Testarossa. He said, that's an expensive car. I said, can I ask you a question? He said, yeah. I says, you think a Rolls-Royce limousine's a pretty expensive car? Oh, yeah. He said, yeah, it's an expensive car. I says, well, that's what I'm going to come in tomorrow when I buy that car and pick it up. And he just looked at me, and I gave my card. I said, I'll offer you $120,000 for it. If you want to sell, let me know. And I left. The next morning, he calls my office. And he says, I could do $125,000. I said, thanks anyway. You have a good evening, good day. He calls him right back. He said, all right, we'll take $120,000 for it. So I told my driver, get the limo ready. We're going to get this car. And 6 or 7 of us went down there. The guys the night before that wouldn't talk to me, I got out of the car and, how can we help you? How can this? I said, I'm the same guy that was here last night. I said, you shouldn't judge people by what they look like. And they just, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people judge people by, what they look like. They don't judge their heart. And that's important.
But that's the crazy thing about society these days, and that's what people do, right?
Yeah.
They're judgmental. I think it's because a lot of people don't have self-worth right now.
No.
That's what I think. And I mean, if we're going to get into that, I think that, just people just don't have a lot of faith.
They don't.
And not even just in God, just in the economy, just in the world right now. I think
they don't
that
even have faith in themselves. How can they have faith in anything else? You know what I'm saying? They don't.
It's just... It's difficult because I'm a father, and I have 3 daughters, and 3 daughters with 3 different mothers, right? Because I was married twice. My first daughter, I raised by myself, right? Because the mom ended up leaving and starting a new family and whatnot, and I didn't abandon her. I took her in. I figured it out as she was 3 months. What I'm trying to get to is these kids all come from different areas, and you have another partner, so you got to pick your partner wisely, but the way that these kids are growing up also is they're growing up with an iPad in their hand. Like you said, they're growing up with, learning everything from online instead of saying, hey, Dad, what's this? Hey, Mom, what's this? Right. They literally are raised online. So then they see it and then they grow distant and then they have to go make these mistakes to learn. And then when they hit rock bottom and figure out that didn't work, they got to come back to you and say, Dad, I need advice. And what sucks right now is I'm in a phase in my life where my journey's kind of where my kids are kind of like on their own.
Right.
My older daughter is getting ready to move up north, because my ex-wife has an opportunity up there, and I'm trying to support her in that because I think that's best for her so that she can get healthy again, because she's been in a depressed mode for like a long time,
Yeah.
and I want her to heal for my daughter. So
Right.
it's better for my daughter. So I have to be selfless, and I have to sacrifice my time with my daughter
Exactly.
to let my daughter go away. And then my middle daughter is like a teenager, and it's just always with her friends.
Yeah.
It's all about boys and her friends.
Yeah.
She's just about to be 14 in October. And
Oh.
she's a handful. But she's like the closest to me emotionally. And
Right.
then there's my older daughter, which is in the Marine Corps.
Oh, geez.
Right. She just went in, and she graduates October 3rd. And they're just so different. My older daughter's just exactly like me. We
Right.
butt heads. We don't get along. She was born December 29th. She's a Capricorn. So all those things, it's different. And they know that dad is reliable.
Right.
Dad is on time.
Right.
Dad is the structure. Even though they'll tell me they don't believe me, I
Right.
know that they do believe me because I'm consistent. And so for me to be consistent is what really matters. And me to have faith matters. And all my girls believe in the Lord.
That's
all of
beautiful.
them. They're all Christian girls.
That's beautiful.
And I guess what I'm trying to get at is we can't control what they see. We can't control the other parties, right? But what we can control is what we do,
Exactly.
right? And like you're saying, like just, the world's changed, but what you can do is just stay consistent and then wait for them to come at you, right? Like, did you learn that in your past? Like when you were like, going through all your emotions with your businesses, dealing with all these people, whether you're dealing with the feds or whether you were
Right.
dealing with, people from, the underworld,
Right.
whatever, hitting you up, asking you questions. How did you deal with all that? Like, what did you do? Like, you just kind of took your time with people, and like, they probably knew about you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they had respect for you.
Right.
Right.
And like a lot of people would come, and ask me advice. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a guy the other day, a young kid. He said, Mr. Asadurian, I'd like to ask you a question. What do you need? I'd like your advice on something. I said, well, I don't know how good that's going to be. And he started laughing. I said, no, I can help you. Anything I could do for you, I'm here. You got my phone number. You call me. You come over, whatever you want to do, I can help you. But you look at today, like this chat GPT and this AI and all this stuff, these kids don't need to even go to school. What are they going to school for then?
It thinks for
Because they
you.
could just, yeah. So what is our society going to be like? Nobody talks. You go to a restaurant and you see a mom and a dad and two kids and everybody's on the phone with their heads down. Does anybody at home at night take 5 minutes and pray together? No.
You're right.
Everybody's too busy doing their own thing, and you got to have the one person that's going to make it work. So if you're the father of the house, you got to make it work. Hey, put your phones down. We're having 5 minutes of prayer time right now. You know what I mean? And it's just you got to implement it. And if you just blow it off and you do nothing, this is what you're going to get in society. And I don't think it's too late. I really don't. I don't think it's too late.
I heard that on your voice memo, and that's what I wanted to get at. That was in my closing. Is like, where do you think society's at, and how you think it's not too late? What do parents need to do? Like, from everything you've learned, what do parents need to do to get their kids back in order these days? What do
They
you
need to
think it is?
step up and be a parent.
What does that mean
Like
to you?
your parent, my parent.
But
I
being a
got
parent
in-
is different, right?
Well,
Today than it is yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you got to, okay. So, like, for example, for me, like, I do Instagram.
Right.
I'm on social media, so I have to create stories, and I do stuff. I do content because I like to do it, but
Right.
also because that's the way to get business these days.
Right.
You have to be active,
You have
right? So you have to promote your business, and, I have feelings and I say stuff, but then intermittently I'll post, like, an ad, a commercial.
Right.
That's how I think of
Right.
it. And that's the way the world is forming. Like, if you want to advertise on Google, you want to advertise on all these things, it's not going to help you as much as it used to.
No.
No one's getting business from that. And the clicks are extremely high. And now with ChatGPT competing with Google, more people are going to that than they are to Google. People are going to local searches on ChatGPT. And
Well, I mean, it tells you
it's
anything you need to know.
within a second.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to search Google. You have to type in something, and it gives you a bunch of ideas. ChatGPT tells you the ideas, where they're at, and gives you the best 5. You think less.
No, it's
It's
Listen,
less
it's
energy.
crazy.
And it learns from you.
Yeah.
It learns. Like, when I type something in there, it knows exactly how I want it formulated.
yeah, exactly.
It knows exactly how I feel, how I talk. It says, "Hey, Colt, I know that you feel normally towards this. You're a loyal guy, so I'm going to put it in a context that you like." It'll tell me that.
Right.
And I'm like, what the heck is this thing talking to me like a human? Sometimes I'll have a full-on conversation with ChatGPT. Full-on conversation.
I always say, please, thank you. And one guy says, what are you doing? I said, well, if I asked you something and you gave me an answer, I'd say thank you or please. He says it's a computer. I don't know.
Let's talk about the bonuses on it, though. Yeah. Because if you talk to chat in a way of like, hey, someone's right. I had a really emotional breakup about 6 months ago, maybe longer than that. You know, us guys, we don't keep timelines, right? So this happened, and I was super emotional about it. Like I was having panic attacks, and I couldn't think straight. I really loved this person, and I feel like, you know, it was a little bit on me. It was a little bit on her. I was like, should I pursue her? Should I not? You know, is this right? Should this woman be asking me to do more things and keep moving the goalposts, or should I, you know, what should I do? I didn't know, but I felt like my kids were telling me that I needed better. And I prayed to the Lord, and I talked to him, and then I had to make a choice. So I went to ChatGPT, and every conversation, every time she was sending me a message back, I would tell Chat, this is what I wrote, this is what she wrote. And Chat literally saved my direction. And it changed the course of how I was thinking, and it helped me emotionally. Because it would tell me, like I would write my message, she would write her message, and I would say, she's saying this now. What does this mean? It would say, it looks like she's not adhering to your voice, and she's not listening to you, and she's manipulating the conversation in context of theory of this. And it would tell you a human being's supposed to rationalize with you, but then have an opinion, you know, based on whatever it is. And it sounds like she's moving the goalpost. She's asking for additional things. She's making it about her. And it was all just negative points. So I didn't even think about it, but it actually told me the theory on how the world is composed, everything, because ChatGPT is based on a theory of the whole internet, the world, every book that's ever been written, every philosopher, everything. It's all evolved on what human belief is about a certain thing. So if you ask it that, it's going to go, well, if you're asking me my opinion on this based on the information that I've received, this is how this person is reacting. And it's crazy because if they've been acting like that, then you know, you can kind of settle yourself. It's almost like talking to God in a way, but not talking to God.
Right.
Because it's not God, but it's literally like every human being, every philosophy book, every essay that's ever been written on a specific idea or emotion, all in one context, and saying this is the best formulated response out of these billions of ideas. And it'll tell you, so you can really rationalize with yourself and say, okay, so what I'm feeling is valid. You can validate yourself without them validating you. So it helped me get over that because I was able to validate my feelings. Like, hey, Colt, you're right about how you feel. She's not listening. Right. It sounds like she doesn't really care. And it sounds like she's selfish. As soon as it said the word selfish, and I knew that I'm selfless, I'm the most selfless person you'll ever meet, man. Yeah. I will give my life for somebody. I will take the shirt off my back for you just because that's who I am. Right. And that's a positive and a negative at the same time.
Yeah, some people take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Take kindness for weakness, we used to say.
Right. So in context of how our kids are growing and they're on the internet, I see a bonus at them using things like AI, because if they're not going to learn from me, now you have this formula that's going to literally shape our children back into the result that we need if online is the only thing that we have. Because I can't get the online stuff away from my kids, no matter how hard I try.
You're not going to.
I know it's hard.
You're not going to.
I'll even do no iPad time, and they get mad.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to the parent. She's like, oh, well, there's only so much time, and I have to talk to her. And, you know, hey, well, it's Dad's time now, you know?
Yeah. It's when I say I don't think it's too late, like ChatGPT to me is awesome because it gives you facts. But it's like anything online is good.
Yes.
But it could be bad too, okay? The bad people make it bad. The good people use it for, tools. But looking at today's society, you got to go back to just some family time together.
I believe you.
I'm not saying you got to go spend $10,000 and go to Disneyland for a week. I'm saying just get in the car as a family and go to the grocery store together. Something. Be a family. Be just 5 minutes. That's all it takes.
And you can see it in people when they're older too.
Yeah.
Even like Candace, like she's my friend, and I can feel that she's like super family oriented.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's because that's probably how she was raised.
That's the way we were raised.
Yeah. And I know the Armenian culture is super huge on that. Super huge.
Big
on
time.
That. Yeah. That's something to be said about cultures too, and dynamics and where you're raised, you know. Were you born here? In the United States?
Northridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Valley.
But it's I don't know, it's just there's a lot that people could do, I think, in this world, but they don't want to take the time. You know, everybody's on their own agenda. I don't want to be bothered, you know. They'll tell you they want to help. As soon as you pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I need some help with this. Sorry, you know, I'm busy.
Well, because people are more about themselves these days.
Yeah.
But they don't see healing through being selfish. You see healing being selfless.
Right.
And that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
I even started like a coaching business, and I did it it started maybe like 18 months ago, and I was just helping people for free as they hit me up and stuff. It was taking so much of my time, I had to make it an actual business.
Well, that's
where
good.
I charge people a little bit to get involved, and then I have, you know, calls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it actually helped me out because it makes it so I have to constantly learn.
Right.
So what I always tell people is, are you aware of the questions that you ask yourself?
Yeah.
Because I think that's what life is, and I don't know if you can agree with me on this, but I think the older that we get, the more questions we ask ourselves, and the right questions we ask ourselves. I don't ask myself questions that are like negative, like, yeah, Colt, like, why are you such a, you know, a lazy guy, or why did you know, have kids with 3 different mothers?
Right.
You know, like I don't ask myself negative questions.
Well, why beat yourself up? What's that going to do?
It doesn't do anything. 'Cause that was your past.
You
It's
want
what
to build
learn from.
yourself up. You don't
Questions
want to
I
beat
ask.
yourself up.
Yeah, I ask myself questions like, hey, are you being a good man for God?
Right.
You know, are you being a better man for God? Are you being the role model for your kids?
Right.
Are you doing everything you can today to make the most money possible? Are you doing the most with your time? And honestly, most of the time, it seems like I fail in my head. But that's good because
you have
accountability.
high standards.
Correct.
If you don't have high standards, you're doing fantastic.
Correct. And I feel like I fail sometimes. And I think that's something to be said, because I think that as long as you're aware, and even if you think you fail and you're in that motion of like, dude, I'm failing, I'm not doing well, that just means that you're closer to actually accomplishing something.
Right.
So I tell people that you're like right around the corner from accomplishing something. You're right around the corner from a major breakthrough. And I think that's kind of where you're at today. I think that you've experienced life. You've lost everything. You've came up. You've lost, you know, you've had, you know, a lot of setbacks. And then all of a sudden now at the age of 69, you're coming back into it. And what did you do this whole other time for the most part? Like, what did you do? So you had it. So that was like, you said 20-something years in business.
Yeah, and then I like I say, then I did the swap meet deal about.
Right, and then you bought like a building and then tried like this. So that's all over like 40 years plus or whatever. Yeah, there you go.
And it just, I don't know, like now, like I told you, I believe, man, the Lord didn't bring me this far to leave me.
I don't think he's ever leaving any of us. I think he's
got, in my heart, he's got a great plan for me still. And people look at you and say, come on, who are you kidding? You're 69 years old.
Yeah.
To me, it's a number. You know, so, okay, I'm 69.
Still young.
What am I supposed to do? Just go sit home? You know, collect Social Security and sit there? I'm not interested in that.
No,
I want to, and I told my wife and my kids know. At the end of all this, when it's all over and it's going to be, something big is going to happen, okay, I feel it in my heart, and I know just my faith, I want to start a charity. I already have the name. I already have the tagline. I already got everything. So, I mean, I'm just waiting, you know. But you don't need to have a charity to be able to help people. So I can help with what I can help with now. When I get more, form a charity and help more.
I like what you're saying. And I want to get more into your book. So you wrote 3 books?
I've written 3 books. The one that's going to come out, I think next week, it's called Anchored in Faith.
Are they all religious books, or is there like a rise and a fall?
One's a car book. I had to throw a car book in there.
There you go. You got your cars, right?
Yeah.
You into cars?
Yeah, big time. I built I built a car in 2003 and won the world's most beautiful custom with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the other book about?
The children's prayer book, and then Anchored in Faith is a prayer book, and it's a prayer book for everybody in your life. There's prayers for mom, dad, brother, sister, grandmother, grandfather, grandchildren, for your faith. There's for thankfulness, for finances, there's 90-some different prayers.
Wow.
And it's called Anchored in Faith. And it'll be out. Hopefully next week it should be out. First book I've ever written. If you would have told me 6 months ago, hey, man, you're going to write a book, I'd say, yeah. I could barely spell my name. I went to 9th grade, so I'm going to write a book.
Did you have someone help you?
Yeah.
Publisher? Yeah. I know there's people out there. I'm actually in the process of doing the same thing. So I connect with you. Yeah. So we come from similar backgrounds in a lot of ways. Whether we know it or not, I feel like we're a lot alike. But, I'm going to have a book.
That's awesome.
So I'm in connection with the gentleman right now to talk about the publishing of it. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, he sends me these questions, and then I go back, and then we start working on the chapters, right? And mine was going to be based on childhood, growing up, and then getting into different phases of my life, and then experiencing different emotions, getting into the Marine Corps, going to combat, coming back home, not having shit.
Service. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and then not having shit. But a freaking nothing to piss on. I got out with no money, and then I was homeless for a while and just trying to figure it out, and then just trying to seek love. I never got into drugs.
That's good.
I like the ladies, so
yeah,
that kind of screwed me up a little bit.
I've never
in
done
my
drugs
earlier
a day
years.
in my life. Never once. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's a good thing. I was just trying to find love. I was trying to find happiness, trying to find a connection. But
you know what? I think a lot of people today are.
I think everyone's trying to all the time.
Because
I don't want to make that a bad thing. I think that if you're out there figuring it out, and a lot of people you're married,
right?
And you got blessed with a perfect woman right away. I didn't.
My wife is unbelievable. Yeah. She's 34 years we've been married. She's my second wife, but my first wife and us get along. I mean, which is the most important thing because I have a daughter by my first wife, and we all get along and. That's the most important thing. A lot of times people will get divorced and they'll try to, play the kid against each other, and it just tears the kid up.
Yeah, I think the person that loves the kid the most is the parent that's always going to do what's right, even when it's not the right thing to do. They say this thing, it's sometimes the right thing to do isn't the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I'm at in my life. I'm kind of in a damned if I do, damned if I don't situation with my youngest daughter. It's I was talking about moving her away, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I think it's the right thing to do because if I fight, then she goes through pain.
Right.
If I don't fight, she moves away, and then I selflessly get less time.
Right.
But I could still see her. She's only 400 miles away, but I got to make a lot more effort and spend a lot more money. But at least she's not away. But then I also feel like I give.
It's good for her.
It is, but I know that's not what she wants.
Right.
She's told me, I want to be with dad and mom. But I think she says that because she loves her dad so much, but she also wants to do. I think she knows her mom needs more,
right?
And I think that my middle daughter and my older daughter are kind of older, but they also want me to do certain things too. But I don't think they understand how much pressure that is on somebody and how much strain it is on them. Right. And I never understood that even as a kid, growing up. And as a kid growing up, I was always in this whole middle ground with my parents. My dad was struggling with this identity,
right?
And my mom was just trying to fucking make it. She was so poor, just lived barely making it, and. And then I didn't have my dad around a ton because he was trying to figure it out, and my mom was just always working. So
that makes it 10 times harder.
I was just raised by the streets, man. Yeah. The streets raised me, and
but you got through it, and look at your man of faith.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
again, God had a plan for you.
Yeah, He did, and
didn't
now
look like it at the time.
It didn't. It didn't. I had no idea. Honestly, I never really got closer to God until I started having panic attacks.
Yeah,
because I was just letting my thoughts run rampant. No one ever taught me how to control my thoughts or anything, And I talk about that on other podcasts and whatnot. But I guess to get to the bottom line is that you went through all this shit. You had everything. Right. You lost everything multiple times. You went through everything in your life. And then all the way at the end, it took you until you were older to really figure out that the most important thing in life was faith.
That's it.
Because faith will get you through it. And if you put yourself in faith, and I think that's what everyone can learn from this podcast today, is that if you worry about something and you have anxiety and you just whatever you're doing right now isn't working for you.
Right.
Your body's not working right. You can't get up in the morning. You're struggling. You're struggling to go to the bathroom, sleep all the way through the night. You have no sexual desire. Your body's just not functioning. You should probably think about putting your faith in God.
Exactly.
Anything that happens, just go, well, it's his job. It's his journey. I'm just riding along,
And I don't have perfect days. I have days where I have doubt. Am I really going to make it, or this and that? And then I just give it to the Lord, because I in my brain I can't solve that. The devil wants to keep just jabbing you and giving you things to think about that are negative. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have time for negative things. In fact, I'm too old to, like a guy's trying to sell me something the other day. He said it has a lifetime warranty. I said, I'm 69 years old. Who cares about a lifetime warranty? So, but yeah. So, I mean, it just, there's nothing stronger than faith. You just give it. And like I say, it'll never be perfect. You're going to be going down the road thinking, come on, Lord, what is this? But at the end of it, you'll look back and say, wow, that's why that happened.
I like that.
Because there is no coincidence. It's everything's meant for a reason.
I believe that.
Oh,
Everything
100%.
that happens for a reason. Even the bad shit. Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Even like this thing, I think it's just kind of one of those things that like the it's just like almost like testing your faith. Like how much are you willing to prove?
Yeah.
That's God saying like, hey, how much do you want them in your life? Are you going to fold on them?
Yeah.
Are you going to quit? No.
Can't.
Well, you can't. Yeah, you can't. You're not allowed to quit on your kids.
Can't.
No matter what they do.
What.
Yeah.
No matter what, they're still your kids. And I mean, you could dislike them. You could be mad at them. But no one else can.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can have your feelings for your kids, but someone else says, hey, man, your kid's a real screw up. Your kid's a real Yeah. That lasts about 2 seconds.
Right.
You could say it to them. No one else can. And it just, some people don't realize that neither. And they step out of bounds. And that's, don't try and raise my kid.
Yeah, I had some of those issues with some family not too long ago.
Hey, everyone wants it to, everyone's.
Well, it was my fault because, years ago I have all daughters, so.
Yeah, that's tough enough.
Yeah, and as a male raising daughters, I needed a woman to step in and just say, hey, because there was things that they were saying to me that my daughters were like, well, you don't understand, especially when they got like their periods and stuff.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know anything about this shit. Here, just grab one of these and put that there. Well, how do I do it? I don't know, like figure it.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable for me to go through that, but I try to help verbally or however I can, and I just dish it out to my family. And then when things like that would, come along, I'd go back to my family and say, hey, and then, but when like my kids were, refuting with me and like causing problems, and like trying to be, sticks in the mud, they would run to them because I already gave those keys to them. And then I'd say no, and they'd be like, well, you already asked me for something. I'm going to step in on this one. So it's like I already gave them the keys. So that's where it gets kind of complicated. Right. It's like I should have maybe taught them and then just did everything myself and showed them no.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a position where like, even like with my sister right now, I can't talk to her because me and my daughter had this falling out. She ran to her. I was telling her she needs to come back home. She kind of resisted and it caused this whole thing. And, I forgive her and I love her. But at the same time, she kind of overstepped her boundaries and it caused some conflict between my daughter right before she left to boot camp. And I was struggling with that for a long time. Like, why did you do that? I told you that she needed to come home. Well, I'm not going to tell her what to do. And I'm like, that's bullshit. She should have came home. And so we go through that with our families.
Right.
You know. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing is just forgiveness. I forgive everybody no matter what. But I will put up a boundary now. You know what I mean? And a boundary is like access. So what I like to do is, and this is what helps me, is I like to limit access to people. And I think that's what God allows too. And if you really pay attention to things in the Bible and things that he says in the Bible that's written, is limiting access. Because God only allows you to download and receive messages when you're acting closer to him and you're trying to be closer to him. The closer that you are to him and the more that you give yourself, the more that you can hear him, the more that you can feel him. Some people will be like, oh, that's crazy. It's like, no, you feel something different.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that I feel better, and you kind of just know what to do. Like in your life, wake up today, okay, I got to go to the gym. Yeah, that person that I wasn't very nice to last week, I got to make things right with them. I'm going to give them a call today. It's going to feel uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it because that's the right thing to do, right?
It's the right thing to do.
Right. And I always talk about leaving your side of the street clean,
Yeah. You can forgive. You don't have to forget, but you got to forgive because, I mean, it'll eat you up inside for no reason. Just forgive them and move on.
It's crazy how powerful our emotions have over our life, right?
Crazy.
It's crazy. And even as men, right? Like you're a man's man. You know,
mean, I had
And-
a stent put in, okay? And ever since that, I'm an emotional wreck. You talk about something or I'll watch something on TV, I just start tearing up. I'm thinking,
what happened?
what the heck is this now?
Oh, I felt the same thing. I never had emotions until I was 37 because the Marine Corps took those from me.
Right.
You know, and then I know why they did. And they didn't like actually take them. They
No,
just,
but you
the way
got to be
they-
a tough guy. You got to be this.
Well,
you got-
they break you down.
Yeah.
You know, they get you into this motive that you can't be aware of your emotions. You can't. You just got to be like, no, I'm a personal killer, and I got to be ready to kill. And I can't worry about my buddies dying to my left and right? Because, and so you don't really focus on those things until later, and then it starts eating you up. And it took me literally from 22 to about 37. So how many years is that? I don't even know. I can't count.
15.
15 years. It took me 15 years to finally be aware that, like, hey, me working hard, none of this shit is working in life. Like, I couldn't connect with my 3 daughters. I was having relationship issues trying to connect with my relationship. I felt like I was pulled in all these different directions. And then, keep the business, keep my money going.
Right.
You know, and I was just trying to figure it out, you know. But the more that I tried, the harder it got.
Because you tried to figure it out.
Because I tried to figure it out. I like how you said that.
Give it to the Lord.
Give it to him.
Yeah.
Pray about it.
Yeah.
And everything that happened, I just started like saying, you know what? I agree with you. And I started admitting my mistakes, my faults, asked for forgiveness. Even if I wasn't forgiven, I still loved. That's what really helped me a lot.
People don't believe how powerful prayer is. They don't believe it.
Even after all the shit you've been through, man. It took you till like, how long ago did you find a connection with God like that?
34
was
years.
34 years.
Yeah.
34 years old?
No, 34 years when I met my wife.
Okay, so
When I
when
gave
was that, like a
myself
few
to the
years ago?
Lord.
Was it a few years ago that you gave yourself to the Lord? Or how long?
30 years.
Oh, 30 years ago. There you go. Okay, I understand.
But I want to say I was a good time Christian. You know? Yeah, I was a Christian. I never acted like one. So I gave myself to the Lord. Okay, big deal. I still thought I can handle all my own problems. I don't need nobody. You know, I'll do this business. I'll do that. I'll get this. I'll do that. You know, it's all me. Still. Until I lost everything, had nothing, then I realized, you know what? His plan for me is better than my plan because obviously my plan hasn't worked. And so I just give it all to the Lord. Like I say, even today, I just give it to the Lord. And I just know, and that you can mark the date, something good is going to happen.
What do you think as far as today? Like, what do you think the viewers can learn from your whole story and everything that's happened?
Number one, don't ever give up.
Okay.
Never give up. I don't care what people tell you, that you can't do it or what. Don't ever give up in life. I mean, and learn one thing, without your health, you have nothing. I mean, you could be a multi-billionaire. You don't have your health, you're done. You have your health, you work hard, and don't ever, ever quit. And don't ever listen to somebody say that you can't do it. And you just take everything to the Lord. Take them and just say, here, Lord, this is, I give you my life. I give you myself. Just guide me. Show me the direction. And he will. He will. I believe it. I believe it 1,000%. You could take that to the bank and collect interest on that one. Believe me.
I love that. One more question. How do you define peace? Now to compared to before.
Peace, I think, was just within your heart. Peace to me used to be, I'll go buy a house and then just go there for the weekend. Oh, it's peaceful, it's nice. That's not peace. Peace has got to start here within your heart. You got to wake up in the morning with peace. And I'm not here to say, hey man, you're going to wake up every day and you're going to have just a great day, everything will be rosy. No, it's not that. You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs. Like I wrote this book. Okay, so I may sell one book. I don't know. I may sell 1,000. I don't know. But I did it. I did something I never in my wildest dreams would ever think I could do. But I did it, and there's obviously a reason why I did it. And I believe that. That's.
And I'm proud I'm proud that you wrote those books because I feel like you had a whole change that I think most people don't have. I don't think they see that, especially at 69 years old, like having to start over again, having to figure it all out again, and then just not giving up. I think that has a lot to say. And you've been through so much shit. I mean, just rise and fall, tried everything, done all these businesses, made money, lost money, had every car,
health,
had
everything.
all this, and then finally at the end of it, it's just all about just your faith at the end of the day, and you don't care about anything else. You're like, yeah, no, my faith, God's got me, I'm good. And it's just,
I mean, when I was younger, I wouldn't leave my house without having at least 10 grand in my pocket. And everyone would say, why you carry so much money? I don't know, in case I see something I want to buy. To me, all material don't mean anything anymore. It's weird. I was telling a guy this the other day, what I used to think was important don't mean shit to me anymore.
no more. I agree with you on a lot of levels.
I had a 9,000 square foot house, 8-car garage.
9,000 square
Yeah,
feet.
full of cars, Rolls Royces, Ferraris, Bentleys, all the stuff. Was I happy? Got divorced, So you got to make yourself happy. And material things isn't what's going to make you happy. You got to have your faith in God, and you got to be with the Lord. That's what makes you happy. And He'll give you peace. He'll give you the peace that you need. And I'm none of that stuff today, But everyone sees me because you look so peaceful, so happy. That's what I am. What's there not to be happy about? I got my health. I got a beautiful family. They're all healthy. Okay. So I don't have money? I know, and I told somebody this the other day, go down to Newport Beach, okay? A lot of wealthy people there. Just drive down PCH and you see everyone in their Rolls Royces, Ferraris, all the trick cars. And look and see if any of them have a smile on their face. They don't. A lot of people is just for the show. They want to live what the next guy has. And it's just, to me, it's a crock of baloney.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Right, is that what they say?
That doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
That's not what makes you happy.
Got to have peace within yourself.
Yeah. And your deal with your girls will all work out.
Oh, it always does.
At the end of the day, you're going to look back and say, yeah, I knew it'd work out.
My biggest thing is I always want them to know that I tried.
Yeah.
I don't ever want them to think I gave up.
As long as they always know that you're there for them no matter what. At their lowest low, they can still pick up the phone and call you. That's the most important thing, to keep the communication open.
Right.
A lot of people today, they just throw their kids out and don't call. I don't want to hear from you ever again. Yeah, that's not the way to do it, because then the kid has nobody and has nothing. The day that they wake up and need a parent and want help, they've already been told, don't call here.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
I mean, I still call my parents to this day. I called them this morning, As much as I butted heads with my parents, my mom and my dad, I still ask for their advice,
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't mean as much to me, it just means something to me that, like, I know they'll answer their phone.
Right.
Me and my mom butt heads, like, all the time.
Yeah.
We don't get along at all. We're just constantly butting heads because my mom loves me so much, but she wants me to, like, be something that I'm not, and I can't do that.
Right.
And then, my dad just wants to be there for me and loves me, but he can't stick around long enough, he can't stop moving, and I have both of their genes,
Right.
I'm stubborn at the same time. I can't move. I can't stop moving, so I'm like the same dude,
Yeah.
It's both of them.
Yeah.
I literally look like my mom. I act like my dad in a lot of ways. So I see both of me. I see me and them. And so when I go to them for advice, I take both of those conversations and I just mix them together, and I take a little bit from each.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of made me the person along with the world that I am today.
Yeah. That's important.
That's a huge thing.
That's
we
important.
had a great podcast today, man.
Thank you.
This was
Thank
huge.
you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, man, I learned a lot from you, and I consider you a friend.
Thank you.
Same
here.
And
Same here.
yeah, we've gone all over a lot of stuff, and I've learned a lot just in general.
Yeah.
Just I think these podcasts make me a better person. I think it makes other people better people. And just over and all, I mean, you've been through it all. You've lost everything. You've gained everything. You lost everything again, over and over again. But you're still doing it at 69 years old, and you're still willing to start over. And you feel like you feel like you're 20 years old to me, like it's like, yeah, forget it, man. It's whatever. It's part of my life. But you never stop. And that's what they say. You have to have that in success. You have to have that drive that no matter what happens, you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to stick to your non-negotiables and you're going to do the same shit over and over again, no matter what. Yeah, no matter what life throws at you. And I think if you have that mentality, you'll always be successful again, regardless of age.
And don't ever give up.
Don't ever give up.
Don't ever give up. When it looks the darkest, don't give up.
Exactly. Well, where can we find your book?
It's
Amazon?
supposed to be Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and like I said, hopefully next week when it comes out, I'll bring you a copy and let you know.
I will, and I'll read it. Okay. And and then I'll share that link too.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, brother.
It.
Hope you like this, and I hope you like this podcast, brother.
I love it.
And I respect you, and if you need anything, I'm always here for you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks again.
Yes, sir. Up until next time, guys, get up, get after it, and get some.
Bitch, don't get too comfortable. Better not get too comfortable. Better not get too comfortable. Yeah.